And it's hard to believe that that's been 27 years. Bill Jennings was president of our Rotary Club when he asked me to join, and he sponsored me while he was president of the club, and it just doesn't seem like that was 27 years ago, but time flies when you're having fun. Before I get on with my talk for y'all today, I want to make sure everyone is aware that on Friday afternoon from 4 to 5:30, Congressman Tom Rice is going to be at the Bennettsville Community Center giving away school supplies, and I understand these school supplies are being provided by Herald Office Supply. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now it is. But Tom actually is going to be here himself, which is a real treat, and he wants to meet with school children. School children must be present to receive the supplies. They're not just going to be given to parents. So encourage any and everyone to come, first serve. I understand there are like 500 sets of supplies, so I'm sure they will go fast. But that's something that the city is coordinating with the Congressman's office, and I'm happy we can do that. Fellow Rotarians and guests, it's my pleasure to speak with you today in my role as Director of Tourism, Parks and Recreation for the City of Bennettsville. I began my work with the city on May 1st, and have since hired Austin Sagas of Greenwood, who joins me as a guest today. Austin is the Assistant Director of Tourism, Parks and Recreation. He's been a familiar face here at our last few meetings, and I'm delighted to have Austin join our team. And as of tomorrow, Brittany Jones will be joining us as Facilities, Events, and Projects Manager. So with Austin having begun July 10th and Brittany coming on tomorrow, the team is finally intact, which I am most excited about, and can't wait to see all of the possibilities that we will have together to enhance the quality of life for our city's residents and promote our city to the estimated 14 million travelers who pass through here annually. That's one figure Ron King has given me that has become indelible in my brain, that there are 14 million travelers that pass through our city gates every year, and we're not stopping them. Y'all think about that, that's a lot of people, and we're not stopping them, and somehow we've got to figure out, and that's one of our objectives, is how to stop them. Be it with a doggy park, or parks, playgrounds, turning possible recreation areas at Lake Paul Wallace with an RV park, make it a destination, have kayak, canoe rentals, have increased trails. I mean, on our website, we list 3 different bicycle trails. I guarantee you, none of y'all knew that there were 3 different official bicycle trails within the city of Bennettsville. I had no idea, but we're not promoting them, we're not marking them, so bicyclists who might want to come and go for a 10-mile trail ride don't know that we could do that. They could do that here. So there are a lot of exciting things that we have already in place that we can promote, but as well as many additional opportunities. The Recreation Department's responsibilities include the operation of the Bennettsville Community Center, which is located at 714 North Marlborough Street, and it's open from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and at other times when after-hours events are held. Rental agreements for the community center, event space, and classrooms, as well as all city parks. There are 5 city parks: the community center tennis courts and ball field, Hodges Park on King Street, Kids Land Park on Center Street, the McLeod Street basketball courts, Smith Park on Cunningham Boulevard, and Woodland Gardens and Park on North Marlborough. And all of the rental of those are completed through the office at the community center. I'll be honest, when I started this position, I did not realize how much these parks are used. And I think Austin can attest in the couple weeks that he's been here. Our community members do rent these parks. They want them reserved for special occasions, especially you've got several back-to-school activities in the next coming weeks, which is real exciting. And yes, you can take your family and you can go play, but if you want to have a birthday party or you want to have a back-to-school event, you need to reserve it. And we do that at $10 an hour for the activity time. So a 3-hour event is $30. So it's not cost prohibitive, but it does guarantee you that private time in said park. We have 7 different instructors teaching 25 recreation activity classes weekly at the community center. And they include aerobics, yoga, Tai Chi Cha from our own Linda Jones, kettlebells, and youth kickboxing classes. Plans are being discussed to expand on those classes and offer line dance and shag classes, as well as art and tennis lessons, just to name a few. I mean, the possibilities of recreational opportunities are really endless, and what we're trying to do is offer things that are not being offered anywhere else in the community. So if the Arts Council were operational and they were offering recreational art classes, that's not something we would pursue. We won't get into fielding baseball, soccer, football teams. That's the county recreation department. So we're trying to fill in those niches that no one else is covering. So there's a big opportunity there. A group of senior citizens gather regularly on Tuesday mornings and play dominoes at the community center. When they asked if they could continue it once I joined the staff, I said, absolutely. They said, well, it's just so accessible, it's so easy for us to come in. And they do. Several of them on walkers, I've seen a wheelchair, and it's just one level access that they can roll in, sit down. About 6 of them, they get together to play, have a grand time. But that's an area that we're not serving this community. We don't have enough senior citizen programming. The library is actually beginning next month a senior circle outreach program, very similar to what Marlboro Park Hospital offered in the reassigned Blessings building next door. But they're going to be operating it out of the library, out of the Kenny room, and then once Northeastern Tech vacates the back of the library, they will be able to expand their offerings. I think they've already gotten, they haven't even begun, but they've already gotten 200 enrollees. So our idea from the Bennettsville recreation side is that we can assist in those recreational opportunities to bring our yoga instructors, our Tai Chi Chi, kettlebells, bring those to them, or have them come join us, but it'll be a great way to publicize the activities that are going on. But in addition to having a site, a facility for senior citizens to come to and gather, there are a lot of senior citizens that don't have transportation. That is a big obstacle. I guess it was in June, the Chesterfield Marlboro EOC Economic Opportunity Council gave away food vouchers for senior citizens. And they had 300 food vouchers to give away over a 2-day period. They could not give away the 300 food vouchers. And those were to needy senior citizens in a certain economic bracket. They had to prove their worthiness. But they concluded that transportation was the primary reason that they didn't give out of the vouchers. So we're trying to figure out how to take recreation into the communities. For instance, we might have classes at the old Marlboro Training and High School, the Marlboro School Community Center on King Street, which senior citizens in that neighborhood could come to. And recreation classes might be anywhere from exercise, art, games, just taking board games, taking cards, checkers, you know, this is a time, come gather, come play, but also it could be where, like with the new census that's going to be coming out in 2020, when you get, and I remember this vividly, the 2010 census, when I got that pack of 30 papers or whatever in the mail, and it took like 2 nights for me to continue to flip through and fill it out, it was pretty intimidating. I was determined to do it, but it was pretty intimidating. So perhaps we need to go in and help offer training. Boil down. Okay, guys, this is what you need to fill out. We'll even help you fill it out, or bring in volunteers to help do that. But that was one of the reasons the senior citizens couldn't get their food vouchers, is because they weren't on the records. So that's another opportunity that, as a city, we're missing the boat on, that we need to help our citizens. So that's another opportunity we have to help. Participation in the first 2 youth and adult art classes that we offered this summer was very good and greatly enjoyed by those who attended. A third and final session will be held this Friday, August 3rd, with a youth class at 10 in the morning and adult paint and sip at 6:30 that night. I know several of you in here have attended, and I understand that it was a large tone. Is that correct? But the instructor is Sherrall native Sarah Ingram, who is Mayor Andy Ingram's daughter. She lives in Georgetown, has done similar art classes in Georgetown, and said, well, you know, if y'all can pull a group together, I'll come to Bennettsville. Well, it's been fantastic. Her energy is tremendous. I mean, she's getting non-artists to create works of art, so it's pretty fun. And I hope we'll have a good crowd. We looked at the numbers this morning that they're really good for this week. So anybody there's not a max to a class size, so if anybody who might be interested, y'all let us know. But the children in particular, I mean, it's great for them to actually get to spend quality time with a practicing artist and for her to give them tips. And she picked up a lot of tips from the kids on these first 2 times. Many folks from town, when asked where Bennettsville is, refer to it as being 2 hours from anywhere. In fact, Austin and I had this conversation this morning that he's planning a trip to Washington, D.C. and was looking for flights. Well, we're 2 hours from Myrtle Beach, we're 2 hours from Columbia, Charlotte, Raleigh, Wilmington, just to mention a few. You can also hop a plane, as he was looking to, train, cruise ship, or bus in 2 hours or less too. So that kind of idea of being 2 hours from anywhere spurred the summer concert series that we started on June 7th at the community center with a performance by Cornbread, which is an Americana jam band with local roots. Kelsey Hudgens came home and performed. Actually, it was the first time he had ever been asked to come home and perform. So that was really cool for the hometown boy to bring his band back to Bennettsville. Great night, a lot of fun. Promised him he will come back because it was a really neat experience. We had a second concert, Paperwork, which is a Myrtle Beach-based funk band that was held on June 30th in conjunction with the 4th annual fireworks show at Lake Powallis. I know a lot of you were there, or a lot of you stayed home and looked up and y'all could see the show from your homes. An estimated 7,000 people gathered for the professional pyrotechnics show with a musical soundtrack. It was amazing. And y'all would have said, oh, well, that was really a professional masterpiece. Well, it was. There were professional pyrotechnic folks that brought a team in, and they were stationed on the spillway at the lake. And then we had our own David Graham, professional musician, putting the soundtrack together, but it was not premeditated. So it was just a God thing that as the music would crescendo, the fireworks would crescendo. I mean, it was just really amazing. A lot of fun, gotten wonderful comments from that, and folks in surrounding areas are like, y'all know how to do it right in Bennettsville. We've had fireworks, but we don't have music. It's like, well, come to Bennettsville. That afternoon was preceded by many free activities, including boating, swimming, volleyball, and playing on inflatables on the lake. That day could not have been possible if it wasn't for the collaboration and partnership from many different entities, including the Lake Powallis Authority, South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, the Bennettsville Police Department, the Bennettsville Fire Department, Bennettsville Public Works, Marlboro Rescue Squad. They were all team players in it, and it was a huge success. It was a lot of fun. Busy day. We had local food trucks and other vendors on site for refreshments. So that was our second concert. Our third concert in the series was held on July 12th with the local blues and rock and roll band Wilder Road. Followed by the fourth in the series just last Thursday, July 26th, with a performance by local jazz musician Dennis Hardison and a new creation. Those were extremely well attended, even despite some weather issues, so really glad for these local guys to be able to perform here and to perform in front of a good crowd. That's fun. And with these concerts being free, it's easy for the participants. You just need to come. You know, you can bring a cooler, you can bring your chairs, bring whatever. We've got food trucks on site, so you can come make an evening of it pretty easy. The fifth in the series concert will be held next Tuesday, August 7th, featuring the renowned beach music group Blackwater Rhythm and Blues Band at the Community Center beginning at 7. As I said, the city partners with Lake Paul Wallace Authority and is continuing that partnership in hosting a beach blast on Saturday, August 25th, where the band, Painted Man, will be back in town. They've been playing for 4th of July shows in the past couple of years, but they had requested, when did we come back to Bennettsville? We like playing at the lake. Like, we'll have you back to Bennettsville to play at the lake. So we're going to have inflatables for youth on the beach, including water slides. I mean, that was a huge hit. And the opportunity we see is we need to bring things to our citizens that our average citizen can't do otherwise. We don't have a water park. They can't travel to Myrtle Beach to go to the water park, so we need to bring the water park to them. So this is an attempt to do things like that, and it was very well received. 20 business, industry, and private partnerships have been cultivated, offering these entities a summer's worth of premium marketing opportunities. Each has been guaranteed publicity at all events with on-site banners, newspaper ads, radio ads, and digital ads, as well as a premium VIP package, including reserved tent space and hospitality privileges at the beach blast. Many of you in this room are sponsors, and we do thank you. We hope you will see the worthiness of your sponsorship, but with these sponsors on board, we have been able to offer these 6 concerts for this summer series and already planning a fall series. So the idea of concerts year-round will become a reality because of community partners coming together to buy into the fact that we want to do things. We want to be entertained. The idea that we will have bigger name bands, that we'll be bringing people in from outside, that we will become that destination. The Bennettsville Visitor Center is located at 304 West Main Street. And many of you know it's temporarily closed for repairs, i.e. weak places in the porch roof and rotten, decaying boards on the front porch. It really is a public hazard, and until these repairs are made, we have kept the building closed. A punch list of the necessary improvements is being compiled, and quotes for the upgrades are being collected. Mr. John Sissom has been very helpful to me in walking me through it and analyzing how do we maintain the historic integrity of this building, but at the same time make repairs that will last. So I'm excited that we hopefully will begin this project very soon. In the last 3 months, I've traveled to Marion, Conway, Bluffton, Hardyville, Myrtle Beach, and Kinston, North Carolina, visiting with each community's tourism and/or parks and recreation directors. On each visit, I've made some wonderful contacts that have and will assist me and the city of Bennettsville in developing strategic plans to promote ourselves to travelers and increase the quality of life to our residents with the development of our parks and recreational opportunities. Just Friday, Heath Harp and I drove to Myrtle Beach to see Savannah's Playground, the city of Myrtle Beach's ADA accessible playground. That if y'all remember several years ago, Jennifer Getty Ainsworth, formerly of McCall, brought one of her students at Socastee High School, Savannah, to come and talk to us about this upcoming project. It was a project that the city of Myrtle Beach, under the leadership of their former mayor, John Rhodes, and Savannah really embarked upon. It was amazing. I was just telling Kim, it is so much fun. It was just fabulous seeing children, disabled children, healthy children, families. I mentioned to Kim this really cool story that Richard Kirby, the director of parks, who met with us and showed us the playground, told us that It is located in Market Commons. I don't think that was real clear to me when the presentation was given several years ago, but it's located in Market Commons near the ball field. So if y'all are familiar with where their ball fields are, and they have a gymnasium within Market Commons, it's right there at that. There is a gentleman who is a paraplegic who lives within Market Commons, who has 2 young children. And he had never been able to play with his children. He couldn't play on any swing sets. He couldn't get to the swing sets. So shortly after Savannah's Playground opened about 18 months ago, Richard Kirby, the director, said, I looked out my window and I saw him coming through the parking lot with the 2 children attached to the wheelchair. He was driving his little motorized wheelchair through the parking lot. They got there. He was able to drive his wheelchair up on the play equipment and play with his children for the first time. That's pretty cool. So in talking to Kim today, was brainstorming with her for her to think about what resources the Marlboro County Disabilities and Special Needs Board might have through the state. We're going to talk to Tom Rice Friday afternoon when he comes to see what kind of federal funds might be available. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be able to put on this $2.5 million playground that they have in Myrtle Beach, but there's no reason we can't do something to improve the quality of life for our own citizens, but it will be a draw. And that's what Kim was saying. You know, there's nothing anywhere around. It will be somewhere that families will come. They will come and play on that. So it is sensory friendly, as in there are segments that if you're blind, there is braille to lead you through it. There are different musical components, xylophones, bells, tone chimes. I mean, it was just really cool. The coolest part was probably a zip line. I was telling Kim, you sit into this bucket and you are pushed. I mean, you know, a parent can get the child to push through, and it, with enough thrust, it bounces you to the end. You reverb and come on back. And it was like an amusement ride. And that was just so neat to see these folks enjoy that. Because a lot of our folks aren't going to the state fair. They're not going to the beach to go to the amusement. They're not going to Six Flags. They're not all going to Disney World. So this is a way to bring some of that fun, some of those opportunities to them. I have been in contact with the South Carolina Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Agency to learn about what resources are available through them for our community. My childhood friend and longtime Bennettsville resident, Emily Linder Johnson, is general counsel for the agency. It was a eureka moment for me to find that on Facebook. So I have made contact with Emily, and she has already made contact with many of her cohorts on our behalf and is coordinating the trip to bring them to Bennettsville to consult with our department, other areas of the city, and community leaders. We've just kind of been off the grid out here, and it's time for us to get back on the grid and figure out what resources are available to increase our quality of life. Plans are being finalized for the city's year-long bicentennial celebration, which will begin in January 2019, just a very few months away. As chairperson of the steering committee, and with the assistance of Doug Jennings, my former co-chair, I have assembled a committee of community members to help assist me in organizing the year's worth of activities and events. And they include focuses on agriculture with our own Rebecca MacArthur chairing it, celebrating history with our own Ron Mullen chairing it, concerts and entertainment led by Christopher Taylor of Reassigned Blessings Next Door, education chaired by Lynn Covington, finance headed by Doris Ann Reedon, Hall of Fame establishment, we're going to create a Bennettsville Hall of Fame. Its inaugural class will be inducted next year with repeated classes in future years, and it will have a permanent home. Trying to work out those negotiations, but hopefully in the Murchison School, which will give a home for the exhibit where there will either be portraits or busts or something of those who are awarded this wonderful acclaim. All the negotiations of that are still being finalized, but that is to take place hopefully next spring. Phyllis Hagan is chairing our Marketing and Public Relations Committee. Our Planning Committee is being chaired by Suzanne Jennings. Restoration of the Gulf, the downtown Black Business District, is being led by Carolyn Prince. And I will tell y'all, this effort was not even on the table, wasn't even thought about, and just kind of bubbled up through the conversations about the bicentennial and who we are and what downtown is and what it has been and what it wants to be. And there is a lot of excitement about trying to do a reconstruction, a renovation, a restoration of the area from Harry Easterlin Jr.'s office, which was the Palace Theater, down Market Street to Sherrall Street, where St. Michael's, Shiloh Baptist Church, and Sword of Truth kind of anchor that into the street. But located within that, and some of y'all may know this, and I'm preaching to the choir, I apologize, that the 1870s Reconstruction Post Office is still on Market Street. It was what Frank Kane used as a law office, and it's not a very attractive taupe peeling tin roof building, but it is indeed the 1870 Reconstruction Post Office that was operated by E.J. Sawyer, a native son who was a newspaper editor and a postmaster and a schoolmaster and a legislator and maybe a banker to boot. I mean, he was a Renaissance man for sure, but I think it's just really exciting that we still have that property and plans are underway to renovate it, and to bring some people into this. Perhaps have either a robotic figure of E.J. Sawyer or a talking portrait, and do similar, let him go from the 1870s to 1935 when he passed away, and then let Marion Wright Edelman, who grew up in that neighborhood, pick up the story and tell it in her lifetime. What Bennettsville has been, what that neighborhood was, what all took place. I mean, I remember the county jail being in that block of buildings, but there were saloons, there were barbershops, pharmacies. The Gulf was really a Gulf filling station, and Tommy Parker is helping locate a pole and Gulf sign of period of what I guess would be back in the 40s, 50s, is that what we're doing? 30s. But he's working with us on that, and as soon as we can figure out a definite location to put it, it will that will come to be, and it'll. I didn't realize there was a Gulf station. I didn't realize why it was called the Gulf. I mean, we've got to tell this story. We've got to show people what it's about, and maybe this Bennettsville becomes the first stop on the Black History Heritage Trail in South Carolina. We're very fortunate that we have and ever had this Black Business District. I mean, it is a rarity, and it's something that we can promote, even each site, talk about what was on each lot, go back through the years and say, well, this used to be the such and such, and it used to be the such and such, and now it is the Masonic Lodge, for instance. Ron King has joined our group not too many months ago, and has been active in the Gulf discussions, but took it upon himself to create a visual impact committee. And basically it's a first impressions. Your first impressions of driving into Bennettsville may not be the greatest, but we need to figure out what's going on, such as medians, such as overgrown grass, weeds, faded signage, as well as coming downtown, empty storefronts. Can we put banners in them? Can we put paint murals on the windows? Can't we at least take old photographs and blow them up? The county has a 30 by 40, is it?
It has 42 by as long as you could provide.
Printer.
Roll printer, yeah.
So the opportunities using our own resources are pretty neat and pretty exciting, and we see ways to continue to promote Bennettsville to ourselves. You know, that's been one of the objectives I've had since I've taken this job is we've got to learn to love ourselves. If we don't love ourselves, how do we expect any tourist to want to love us? So we've got to know our own stories, tell those stories, and be proud of those stories, and then we can get others. And I'm sure it will happen. Build it, they will come. Bobby Groom serves as our organization's treasurer. Mark Avant, Doug Jennings, and Lynn McQueen also serve as committee members. So we've got a really strong group of community members serving on this committee, and 2019 is going to be full of activities, year-long full of activities. Special emphasis is also being placed on a celebration of our community's diverse international population and Black history as a whole, not just the Gulf Business District, but throughout the community, as well as a coordination of new and enhancement of existing parades. You know, everybody thinks a bicentennial, a birthday party, anniversary needs to have parades. So in addition to the current parades going on in the community, the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade, the Homecoming Parade, the Christmas Parade, the Veterans Day Parade coming back, we're talking about what others could happen. Rebecca MacArthur is planning her fall festival. She's planning to put our bicentennial logo, which will be unveiled very soon for everybody to see, in the corn maze. So it's going to get a lot of national attention by being in her corn maze, and being that we're 200 years old. A lot of towns, Dillon's just, what, 110? It'll be 110 in 2020. I mean, we've got a lot to celebrate. And as you can tell, I've hit the ground running, and I'm excited about the many opportunities and possibilities for our city and community as a whole. Efforts are being made to partner with as many local, regional, state, and national organizations as possible to find and use all available resources to benefit us. That's one thing I've learned, is the city has not had a grant writer on staff in years. They have not pursued many, if any, grants to help do the objectives at hand. And the city budget just can't do it. I mean, the revenue stream is just not there. Our population's not growing, so the tax base isn't growing. Nobody wants to be taxed anymore. I mean, if anything, I'm saying no to that from the beginning. That's not going to work. So we've got to come up with revenue streams from other places, and the Rotary Club is one of those. We need to figure out what projects the Rotary Club can take on. Eagle Scout projects. We were brainstorming some really good ideas. So Charles Paul, we'll have a plethora of ideas of sites that need sprucing up. Anybody have any questions that I might be able to answer? I won't say I can't answer them, but I'll come back with an answer. If not, thank you. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's an exciting time with a lot of things coming up. And I didn't know it was so soon, right around the corner, that all those activities begin. Future programs, next week, Wes?
I'm going to need to switch that to the week after if I could do that, because I've got a conflict with that.
Okay.
So,
We'll work on that. If anybody has a program next week, please let me know. We'll work that. August the 14th. I think we've heard a lot about the port, inland port in Dillon, and growth down there. The anchor tenant for the inland port is Harbor Freight Tools. So I've asked a speaker from Harbor Freight Tools to come talk to us the 14th on Harbor Freight and the activity going on down there. Exciting things. So.
Will he bring samples?
Maybe if we call guys would like to do it. August the 21st, Dean Boyd, and like Danny had said last week about Dean before the kickoff, before the game comes on.
Right. The first game was the 17th, so I figured you want to talk.
So Mike could do that.
no,
It might work out.
that's okay.
August the 28th, Rebecca MacArthur. I know I talked to her. a program on Salcahatchee. If you remember, we donated a little bit to Salcahatchee. And we had them in last year to talk about it, so I know she's working on that. So, and if you have any programs that you would like to do in a certain time that you would like to do it, please let me know. We'll schedule those things too. So let's now stand for our pledge.